Well, good morning, everyone. This is Gail Dudley, and it is time for News in Motion. Today is Wednesday, people. It's Hump Day. It's Wednesday. It's Ash Wednesday. Yes, it's still Wednesday. It is March the 2nd, 2022, and it is time for your News in Motion. So come on in the room, whether you are listening by audio or video. I am just so excited that you decided to allow me to spend a little bit of time with you today. Today, again, we have a special report. We're going to do a special recap over the State of the Union with my relevant commentary that's coming in there, along with the call to action. We have an amazing guest we're going to interview today, and then we'll have our inspirational message. So come on in the room. Let me know that you are here. Let me know that you are in this place this morning. If you are watching by replay, hey, I say great. I'm glad you're watching by replay. So for those of you who are tuning in live, I just want to say good morning to you. For some of you, it may even be afternoon. I know we have international reach. So I see you, Deborah Johnson. I see you, Yvonne. I see you, Diane Ladybug. What's up, Camille Hopkins, excuse me. Good morning, Marion. Good morning, Patricia Lyles. Good morning, Cherie. Good morning, Hester. Good morning, Kenny Stanley. And good morning to you, Adrian. I see you coming in here this morning. Again, if you did not have the opportunity, don't even worry about it. Listen, if you want to post again, if you are a female and you want to post your business or side hustle, go ahead and do that now. If you have any kind of brand, go ahead and do that as well. I see you, Kim Edmondson and Lori. What's up, Paige Dixon, coming from Texas, and Regina. Regina is on LinkedIn. Good morning, Danielle. She's in YouTube this morning. So good morning. So again, no matter what platform you are on, if you want to drop your business information, if you are a woman, this is Honoring Women History Month. I encourage you to do so. You never know who will come through and see it. So whether it's a business, a side hustle, or brand, take this opportunity and put it in the chat. I don't do that often. So go ahead and do that today. We have a lot of news, so I'm not going to stay here long talking about much, but if I see some of your businesses or anything come out, I will grab some of them and do a shout out when I see them come on. So I see you, Liz Pryor. I see you, Shirley Nicholson. I see you, Karen. Good morning. Good morning. And congratulations to you. I believe you have a new grandbaby, if I remember. And good morning, Tony Smith, to you. Yeah, we try to bring out your birthdays when we hear them, or anniversaries. Don't depend on us seeing you on our Facebook wall. If there's something you want us to shout out, you got to send us a DM or send us an email, and you can send that email to newsinmotionwithgail@gmail.com. Y'all, Isaiah is the bomb, let me just tell y'all. All right, y'all. So Regina then flipped from LinkedIn to Facebook. I see you, girl. I see you. All right, y'all. We got a lot to cover. So let's put this news in motion. Let's go. I see both Reginas in here. Good morning to you, Regina Short. All right, y'all. Today is Ash Wednesday. We kick off Lent. If you can hang on to the end of the program today, I have a special Lent inspirational message to share with you. If not, if I know you have to work or get your children out or go get your coffee or whatever that is, come back later and check out the inspirational message. I believe it's going to bless you. All right, y'all, this is a special report. We're doing a recap of the State of the Union. If you're wondering, why do I do that when many of you watch it yourselves? Well, because I go through and I highlight, I listen to some of the commentary, I get all the press pull releases afterwards, and I had the pleasure of actually having the speech as he was speaking, so I was able to go through and highlight different things. Sometimes when you're watching it, you don't catch it all. So I go back and I unpack what I have. I give a call to action, and I also highlight some main things. And there's several things in here that I need to highlight. So with that, we're going to start off with the image of just, it was just beautiful again to see President Biden along with Madam Vice President and the Speaker. So he delivered, President Biden delivered his first State of the Union address in the middle of one of the largest ground wars in Europe since World War II. Say that real fast, right? The highest U.S. inflation in 40 years, and an ongoing pandemic that has killed more than 950,000 Americans. All right. He also announced when he started the State of the Union that the U.S. would close its airspace to Russian planes, a move that had already been taken by the EU and Canada. Now, there was one thing that he pulled out of here, and I hope we all had the opportunity to hear that. If not, I'm going to share it here again. And it really did resonate with me after watching this past weekend the movie, The Great Hack, which again, I think everyone should watch that. And that is on Netflix. And that's where he said we must hold social media platforms accountable for national experiment they're conducting on our children for profit. And I don't think we should miss that at all. Again, watch that movie, The Great Hack, and you will understand where I'm coming from. I'm excited. I'm just a proud Buckeye here. He did talk about Columbus, Ohio 5 times. Yes, he did. Or Ohio 5 times. Columbus 3. He talked about Intel, the American company that helped build Silicon Valley, is going to build a 20 billion, that's what the B, semiconductor mega site. And that's going to be within Central Ohio, right outside, I believe it's New Albany area. It's going to be up to 8 state-of-the-art factories in one place. That's 10,000 new good paying jobs. So that, I want to make sure I put that out there. Y'all, this is going to be some of the most sophisticated manufacturing in the world. These are his words, to make computer chips the size of a fingertip that power the world in our everyday lives. He talked about smartphones, the internet, technology, and he talked about those things that we have yet to invent. And then he goes on and he moves to drugs. He said, first, he wants to cut the cost of prescription drugs. He talked about looking at insulin, and 1 in 10 Americans have diabetes. And as we all know, Black Americans are those leading individual people who have found themselves, especially with type 2 diabetes. He talked about the young man that was in the Galilee, Joshua, and he talked about the other 200,000 young people with type 1 diabetes. And then he said he wants to cap the cost of insulin at $35 a month so that everyone can afford it. He also talked about the American Rescue Plan and how it is helping millions of families on the Affordable Care Act plan save $2,400 a year on their health care premiums. And then he said, let's close this gap and make those savings permanent. He also talked about cutting energy costs for families, an average of $500 a year, by combating climate change. Y'all, I pulled out some key things that he was speaking of, but he was really hitting us on some great topics yesterday. And then he went on to say, let's provide investments and tax credits to weatherize our homes and businesses to be energy efficient and to get a tax credit. He talked about doubling Americans' clean energy production of solar, wind, and then he said so much more. He goes, lower the price of electronic vehicles, saving you another $80 a month because you'll never have to pay at the gas pump again. And I know some of this is like, wow, it's far reaching. Will I ever see it? But it needs to start somewhere, people. And if I can just stop momentarily and just say, just those first few things that I shared in the recap, those are reasons why we should vote. Y'all, voting is a privilege. Voting is here for all of us, and we have to continue to exercise our right and our power to vote. But hold on. He talked about cutting the cost of childcare. He said many families pay up to $14,000 a year per child in childcare. Good morning, Dr. Antoinette. That's the cost of childcare. I think about my 2 children, and both of them attended daycare. And I was like, I could have never afforded that back in those days. They're now adults. I'm thinking, if this, wow, I just can't even imagine the cost of childcare today. So he talked about middle class and working families shouldn't have to pay more than 7% of their income for care of young children. I second that. I second that. Good morning, Dana. He goes on and says that his plan will cut the cost in half for most families and help parents, including millions of women who left the workforce during the pandemic because they couldn't afford childcare. And he wants them to be able, if they want to return to work. And then he goes on and says his plan doesn't stop there. It includes home and includes in-home and long-term care, more affordable housing, and pre-K for every 3 and 4-year-old. Again, it was, and I just want to pause here. I got some more, and we have an interview that's coming up that you don't want to miss. Get your pen and paper to take notes with this interview. But here's something I want to stress to you all. You know, we there's times we have dreams and we understand our purpose, or we're seeking a purpose, and then we find or we fall into that dream. And for me, News in Motion, as well as Ready Publication, allowed me to fall into the dream. It takes work. It takes a lot of work, but I absolutely love the work that comes with it. I love the work that comes with it. And in saying that, I just want to share, to have received this information, to go through and to read the speech as he's giving his speech and his talking points. It made me pause for a moment and say, wow, I'm proud of me because I've stayed the course, and now I see this unfolding. Even with this, I was getting press releases of where he was, and if you're in the building, come over to this point or go over to that point. He's taking pictures with press, or he's taking pictures with families, and just everything. And when he's getting in the motorcade, and the press, where they were, and if they had eyes on him. And I was just sitting there saying, I am sitting here receiving all of this information. I already have his itinerary for where he's going today. And all of that, again, y'all, you have to sign your life away. So I can't share. Even when I received the notes yesterday, and I shared with you yesterday morning that I had the speech, it was changed about 4 times leading up to the actual State of the Union. Even with that, we could not, I could tell you I have, but I couldn't tell you. I didn't share it with my husband. It was like, no, they said I can't share it, and I don't know if there's eyes in this house or what. But it was just it was like, wow, I stayed the course. So what I want to say to you just momentarily, whatever it is you are seeking to do, stay the course, and then accept the responsibility that comes along with the assignment that you have been granted. Seriously, seriously. I said, wow, I've been vetted. I'm now trusted that I can have this information. And then after the fact, we have, you have to sign a thing off saying that you've destroyed it, which I will do after this morning's broadcast. But to go through this and to have it and to share it is just amazing. And I want to speak to you wherever you are, whatever it is that you choose to do in your life journey, do it. Have faith as small as a mustard seed and keep moving forward. It is that important. It is that important. So he also says, under his plan, nobody earning less than $400,000 a year will pay in addition any additional penny in new taxes. He said nobody. He wanted that clear. $400,000 a year. And then he says he's not looking to punish anyone, but let's make sure corporations and the wealthiest Americans start paying their fair share. He talked about just last year, and I want y'all to hear this. Here's why we vote. If you need a reason to vote, 55 Fortune 500 corporations earned 40 billion, that's with a B, in profit. Not earned 40 billion in their sales, earned 40 billion as a profit and paid $0 in federal income tax. That's why we vote. That's why we go to town hall meetings. That's why we vet candidates. That's why we find out what's really going on behind the scene. We must vote. Thank you, Isaiah. We need to go to whenweallvote.org and register. You don't want to go to that platform? Go to vote.gov and register. Don't want to go to that platform? Go to iwillvote.org. Don't want to vote there? Go to your Secretary of State's website and vote. The key thing is to vote. Come on, y'all. Last year alone, 55 Fortune 500 corporations earned 40 billion, that's with a B, in profit and paid $0 in federal income tax. Now, can y'all imagine just for 1 second if those of us with a side hustle or small business, or those of us who are entrepreneurs, didn't pay our taxes? They would come pick us up, take us downtown, and lock us up, and then give us a fine on top of that. And I just looked at that and said, wow, look at the disparities with that. That's why we vote. That's why we vote. And it's interesting, even when he was reading that, I'm like, slow read that, slow give that speech. But he went so quickly, I said, oh, I have got to make sure I deliver that part of his speech on today. Yeah. And then he said, we got to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour. Joe, I don't think you have to worry about that. People need people to work, so they're automatically raising the wage. But he talked about $15 an hour, extend child care credit so that no one has to raise a family in poverty. Again, y'all, that's why we vote. No one should have to raise a family in poverty. No one. He also said, let's increase Pell Grants and increase our historic support of HBCUs. Yes. And invest in what he called Jill, that's his first lady, that's his wife, who teaches full-time, Call America's Best Kept Secret Community College. So that's there. And then he talked about 4 common steps as we move forward to safety when it comes to COVID. He said, first, stay protected with vaccines and treatments. He talked about the effectiveness of that. He said, we will never give up on vaccinating more Americans. He also talked about the antiviral treatments. If you get COVID-19, the Pfizer pill reduces your chances of ending up in the hospital by 90%. He also says they're going to launch the Test to Treat initiative. Let me tell y'all what that is real quick. He said this initiative is so that people can get tested at the pharmacy. And if they test positive, right then and there, immediately receive the antiviral pill on the spot at no cost. No cost. So even when the pharmacy is asking you for your insurance card, even if you don't have it, whatever, and you need to be able to say, this is one thing about the community I believe we reach. We need to be able to respond and say to people, no, and you still have to give it to me because it's a government mandate, or it's a government law, or it's a government issue pill that relates to COVID-19. We need to learn the code words. We need to learn the code words. And I'll tell more about that at another time when it comes to your insurance. So that's that's on the docket. He goes, if you are immune compromised or have some other vulnerability, they will have treatments and free high quality masks going forward. So that's there, y'all. You need to know that this is available to you. He says that they're leaving no one behind or ignoring anyone's needs as they move forward. And then he talked about testing. Get ready to write this down if you missed this last night. Even if you have already ordered and have received free tests from the government, as of next week, you can order some more. Yes, you can. He says, I am now announcing that you can order more from covidtests.gov. I don't know if somebody can put this in the chat. covidtests.gov. I believe it's the same URL as before. You can go to covidtests, that's with an S.gov, starting next week and order more tests. covidtests.gov. starting next week, even if you've already ordered and received them. He talked about the American Rescue Plan, provided $350 billion in cities, states, and counties, and can use to hire more police and invest in proven strategies. He talked about the answer is not to defund the police. The answer is to fund the police with resources and training they need to protect our communities. He said he is asking Democrats and Republicans to pass his budget to keep our neighborhoods safe. The reason I'm taking you through this and sharing this information with you is for this reason and this reason only. so that go to town halls. When you're talking with your elected officials, ask about these questions right here. Ask about these questions. All right. He talked about having a fundamental right to vote, and he asked Congress to pass the Freedom to Vote Act, the John Lewis Voting Right Act. He says, and while you're at it, pass the Disclose Act so Americans can know who is funding our elections. All of that. Provide a pathway to citizenship to dreamers. He talked about those who with temporary status, farm workers, and essential workers. He talked about revise our laws so businesses have workers they need and families don't have to wait for decades to reunite. And then he also goes on to say, and by the way, if Facebook has any questions, I have the right to this press release. I'm a part of the press pool and I can share the highlights. So don't mess with me today. And then he talked about immigration reform. He also said, and for the LGBTQ Americans, let's finally get the Bipartisan Equality Act to his desk. And then he says that he has signed over 80 bipartisan bills into law since last year. We don't hear about that, but I want to make sure you know this. He has signed 80, not partisan, but bipartisan bills. And then he talked about he wants to strengthen the Violence Against Women's Act. And then in the end, he said, so tonight I'm offering a unity agenda for the nation. And then he said, those were the four big things that we could do to that they can do together. All right, y'all, real quick, in other news, CNBC is saying the U.S. crude oil spiked more than 10% over concerns that supply from Russia, a major energy exporter, could dwindle. Bloomberg is reporting that Apple has stopped selling its products in Russia. And then the New York Times is reporting that Texas governor sued over transgender directives. This is a lawsuit that claims that current governor Greg Abbott is investigating parents of transgender adolescents for possible child abuse if they support gender affirming treatment for their kids. That's a lot. All right, y'all. In continuing, I know I gave y'all a lot, and I'm gonna try to do some highlights in the thread later on. And I'll break some of this down more tomorrow. I will highlight different things. So if you are interested in voter education, you do want to join the programming, the broadcast tomorrow. So continuing to honoring women during Women's History Month, we have reverse roles today. Yesterday it was Deborah Johnson interviewing me. Today we will reverse that role. But before I bring her on, pay attention to this. Before I bring Deborah on, I need to say this. You're probably like, that's not the commercial from yesterday. You know, my team will tell you I can be difficult at times. So I had an advisory meeting yesterday, and those are with the previous team who went into an advisory role the first of the year. And that includes my daughter and all the other ones. So anyway, they did this video. They did the commercial. And so during the meeting, I was like, I need y'all to redo that. And they were like, what's wrong with that? I said, I need to add the strong. Good morning, Mike Nicholson. I said, I need to add the strong. I need to add the resilient. I need to add dancers. And it kept going. They're like, you're at 59 seconds. And then we have to, we do our best to keep them under 60 seconds. But I was like, we're missing community. They were like, it's all in there. People know what you're doing here. But I want to thank them because I love that video. I love the way we added that. And I love the young girl with the boxing gloves with the strong. And I love the other young girl climbing up the wall with the resilient. So y'all advisory team, y'all knocked that out the park. I appreciate that. All right, y'all. Deborah Johnson, aka the DJ, the Dream Coach, excuse me, is an accomplished educator, author, professional coach, inspirational speaker, and storyteller. Heralded as a positive force where she goes, she will energize, educate, and inspire you. That's why you want to be on here. Deborah is a parent advocate with a passion for educating parents on her documented process for successfully creating a plan for a child's success. She is the president of Goal Minded LLC. And if y'all want to know what that stands for, Limit Liability Corporation, an organization that provides personal coaching to help parents, young people, and others who desire to develop a personal plan for their own success. She also assists athletes in creating a plan to get recruited for college scholarships and beyond. She is the co-founder of the Jay Richardson Foundation. Jay Richardson, y'all, is a former NFL player whose mission is to breathe life into teen families. She is also the founder of the Football Parent Association at Ohio State and Midwestern coordinator for the Professional Football Players Mothers Association. Girl, I had to put all that in there, say it real fast. Deborah, it was the 2011 NFL spokesmom for the Campbell Soup Company's Address Your Heart campaign. Go, girl. This is my friend, too. She won the Dr. Oz NFL Mom's Ultimate Health Challenge in 2010, was featured on a segment on ABC television show The Talk. She was the motivational speaker for Monster Diversity Leadership Program, where she was named the most inspired speaker for 2006. She was a regular on Fox 28 monthly Moms panel, featured columnist for Ready publication, and former co-host of the Game Ready Mom radio broadcast. She was awarded the Alpha Phi Alpha Jewel Award for Excellence in Education. Deborah has a long history of advocacy in the community. She was a member of the Ohio State University Sports Medicine Institute Philanthropic Advisory Council, the former chair of the Dublin City Schools Business Advisory Council, and former board chair of Ohio Dominican University's Village to Child After School program. She was a board member on the National Alliance of Youth Sports, the Dublin Education Fund Committee, Women Affirming Women Board, and had a 20-year career with the Department of Defense, where she started as United States Presidential Management Intern. Listen, y'all. Deborah is the author of Coaching the Dream, a parent's guide that assists parents in working with their children to achieve their life goals. She has a BA in French from The Ohio State University and the Master's in Human Service Management from Brandeis University. She is an adjunct professor at the Columbus State Community College and a former adjunct professor at The Ohio State University and Franklin University. Woo, y'all. Deborah is an ordained minister, member of Vineyard Church Sawmill Campus, and she is a certified biblical breakthrough counselor. She is the wife to Glenn Johnson, can't leave out the hubby, and the mom of three sons, Jay Richardson, Joshua Richardson, and Josiah Richardson. I hope I said that right, who have attained their college degrees. I'm going to give y'all all of how you can reach her afterwards, but let's bring on Deborah. This is the bomb.com woman.
Good morning.
I was like, she's just got it going on. Can I just put it that way? I said, nope, I'm not going to leave out anything. All of this is important.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. I can fire back at you like you did to me.
Exactly.
First, listen, I am so glad you're here. Yes, Danielle, this is awesome. This woman is awesome. So we're going to jump in. I understand some of y'all need to leave to go to work, but you want to come back and check this out because you don't want to miss anything she has to say. She is, y'all heard the Vita. So let me just tell you who she is. All right. So Now, I noticed you were known as DJ the football mom, but it has
Right.
flipped to DJ the dream coach. So, have you shifted away from working with sports parents or are you combining the two? Please speak to that because
So
I'm
absolutely
interested in
not.
hearing.
You know me, you know my love are sports parents. I love sports parents. I love children who play sports. I love children, period. But I realized that I from the time I can remember, like as a little kid, I was coaching friends. I was coaching other folks, counseling them when I had no skills except for just whatever God put inside of me. But the reality was I would have parents give me the sad face and they would say, wow, I wish I could talk to you about my daughter, but she's in dance. And I would say, oh my gosh, people think that because my focus has been sports, that I was limited to sports. I had
Mhm.
never been limited to sports. It's just where I spent a lot of time. And I realized all along, God has just gifted me to work with people to figure out a personal plan for their own success. And I needed to make it clear God did that for my own dreams. He'll do that for you. And I needed to make it clear that it's for all. So it's the dream coach. And even though I work a lot with young people, because I absolutely love young people and their parents, I
You
work with
do.
all people.
Look, and I can speak to that. Deborah recruited me to do an event at the Jay Richardson Foundation. It was the summer camp,
Yep,
right?
that's right. Our summit.
It was the summit, and children were everywhere. And Deb was like in her element. I was like, "What's going
Mhm.
on?"
Yes,
But
indeed.
it was just absolutely amazing. But you said something there that I want people to understand. For the longest, y'all, she was DJ the football mom. But
Yeah.
then she made a turn because of hearing. So
Mhm.
what would you say to someone? People think you have to be locked into a name or you have to do your website to fit something particular. Can you speak to that to let people know there's a time and a season to pivot, using the word that Davia used a lot, to pivot
Absolutely.
and rethink or to change the messaging? Can you speak to that?
Absolutely. There are changes that you have to make all the time, honestly. When you start getting clues, and God will send you clues through people, through
Yeah.
circumstances. One thing that I can tell you is I'm working on changing my book cover. I have all this property around my book cover, but I was in Philadelphia, all excited about a sports conference, had a booth at a sports convention, held up my book, Coaching the Dream, and a woman walked past me. Now I'm in Philadelphia, right? She said, no, I'm not having none of that Ohio State stuff. We're from Penn State. And I thought, oh my God, wait a minute. Here I was in Central Ohio. My whole brand was around being a Buckeye. I put this picture on because this was my son's jersey, not realizing rival schools are seeing that might be good information, but I can't deal with, no, I can't buy. Michigan fans aren't going to buy the Buckeye book, even though their parents need my information, even though young people's lives could be radically changed by what's in there. But I realized it's just the messaging had to change. So now I have to change the cover. I have to pivot because I was missing out on blessing young people, parents, older people. I coach people who are in their 60s. And I
Yeah.
had to realize that I'm going to miss a whole audience if I don't
Yeah.
change my brand.
Yeah, and that's so key. So many people, and I teach this, as you know, through publishing. So
Mhm.
many people they want to hold on to what they like. And it's
Yeah.
like, you may like it, but
Yeah.
what's going to draw other people to it? And it
Exactly.
may not be something you like. So let me go here. You've done a lot over the years, from studying in France,
Yeah.
um, teaching in Africa,
Mhm.
negotiating labor agreements in South Pacific, hosting radio show. Y'all, she's a bomb. To writing a book and articles for parents. Now, how has this prepared you for what you are doing now, like right now? Because there's so many people who could
Mhm.
use your services. So, how did all of this? Because I think sometimes we want to disassociate with our
Mhm.
past and
Right.
previous jobs and careers, but it's all been a preparation ground. So, how has
Absolutely.
all this prepared you for what you're doing right now?
Yeah. I know you've heard the expression that nothing is lost in God's economy. No matter where we are and what we're doing, even if it feels like a path to nowhere, or you're wondering, I guess that's over now. It's
Mhm.
all about who you are. That information never leaves you. When
Yes.
I am coaching, when I am talking, when I am meeting people, I realize, where did that come from? Oh my gosh, I learned that way back over here. And I thought I'd never use that information, but now it's needed.
Yeah.
Everything we do is like our part of our toolkit, our wheelhouse for what we're going to do later. Don't discount it. And I'll say this, some of my most beneficial opportunities have been around my failures. People think, wow, it must be nice. You had 3 kids and you didn't have any issues. Really? I had lots of issues. I had lots of things going on with my kids. But even in my failures as a parent, sometimes I tell parents, I tell you not what not to do. I've done that. You don't have to do that. I can
Yeah.
tell you that's not going to end well. And God gave me the experience to go through so many different things because He knew there's a big world out there that He was going to use me in. And the platform He has me on has me meeting all kinds of people. And I'm able to pivot, to talk, sometimes even to talk in a different language to someone. And it's
Yeah.
that connection that it makes.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Can you name one or two strategies from your book? Because, and y'all, by the way, her book is phenomenal. Okay, and it's not just. If I can say this, Deb, I don't even think it's just for parents of athletic
Not
students.
at all.
There's
Not at
there's
all.
so many analogies in there that can be used in everyday building of a business, I believe.
That's that's
So can
exactly
you name
right.
one or two strategies from your books that parents or entrepreneurs can use to steer their business or their children towards a success for a balanced career?
Absolutely. I tell parents all the time, they say, I don't even know where to begin some days. And I say, your kids leave clues. Trust that. That
Mhm.
child that's writing on the wall all the time, and every time you turn around, they're writing on your book. They just wrote on your dining room table. They're saying, I'm a writer. I'm a parent. I'm a
Yeah.
painter. I'm gifted. I don't know what else to do, but I got to paint. I got to write. And you have to shift that and steer it in the right direction. When you're an entrepreneur, situations leave clues. You start realizing what works and what doesn't. Failure is only feedback. Every time you're in a situation, and you're learning something new, you realize either it works or it didn't, but you're going
Yeah.
to get clues from that. Even kids who play video games all day. How about there's an esports now? How about it's a multidisciplinary degree program at The Ohio State University and universities all over the country? So you can't sleep on it. I also tell people, give your children a soft place to land. You should
Mhm.
always be that soft place to land.
I
I don't
love
care
that.
what has happened with your child. Sometimes your children disappoint you. It doesn't turn out like you thought it was going to turn out. They are having the most horrific day. When that child walks off the field, the court, out of that test and realizes they didn't get the score, they're not going to get in that school they wanted to get into, they just need a hug. They just
Yeah.
need you to be there. They don't need you to say anything most of the time. I learned that the hard way after my son lost a tough game. And I
Mm.
jumped in the car wanting to strategize about what he did, what he could have done. And he was almost in tears. He says, "Ma, stop. I can't." And I
Yeah.
realized you just have to be that soft place. They need to be at home. That needs to be a place where you are, needs to be a safe space. And
Yeah.
no matter what you're thinking, let that be the safe space.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
I have time for two more questions. Again, y'all, if y'all can hang out for the inspirational message, don't go anywhere. I know we're running out of time, but we got to get all this in here. Now, Deb, you do that,
Mhm.
but you also make some amazing cards. You started a card business. Can you
Mhm.
tell us about a little bit about that and how you developed that? Remember, we have about 60 seconds,
I
but
will
go
tell you
for
quickly. It's I love people. I love connecting. God has given me a passion for just wanting to motivate people and make them feel better. I wasn't an artist. I just love being able to connect with people. I started off with just getting some paper and seeing if I could learn how to fold cards. It cost too much for me to go to these fancy programs. So I just figured it out myself and I would send a short note to folks. Before I know it, people would write and say, "You had no idea. You have no idea what that did for me today." And then I realized it blessed me as well. I
it.
can relax after all of the stress of the day. I get to do what I love best, making people feel good, writing a card, sending a note, and making it fun and fancy.
And I've been the beneficiary of several and
I
love them,
love
and
it.
I keep them. I have them
Oh
on
my
my board.
gosh.
I keep them,
Oh my
because
goodness.
it's so special, and I'm sitting there, there's times it's like, oh man, I need to get my dad a birthday card. I mean, his birthday is past
Mhm.
now. And I was like, why not think about that? So y'all
Yeah.
don't miss out. Make sure you're investing and pouring into businesses such as
Yes.
Deb. I have one more question before I let you go. You
Okay.
talk a lot about your purpose, and I even hear that even in our one-on-one girlfriend conversation.
Mhm. Mhm.
Tell us what you feel your purpose is in this stage of your life.
In this season of my life, I am totally dedicated to making people better, helping them to become whatever they want to become.
I
You know,
love
just a personal plan for your own success. Do you realize, you said it this morning, not over 950,000 people in this country died from COVID.
yeah.
But guess what? If you're watching this broadcast, you're still here. And you're still here because God's not finished with you yet. You got a purpose. I
Yeah.
want to help you to figure out that plan so you can walk in purpose, walk in doing the thing that you're called to do.
And how can people reach you? Email?
They can reach me at djthedreamcoach@gmail.com.
Say that again. DJ the Dream
DJ
Coach.
the Dream Coach at gmail.com.
All right. I'm gonna say that one more time for y'all. Email is DJ the Dream Coach at gmail.com.
That
What's
is
your
correct.
Facebook?
And my Facebook, on my Facebook, I'm Deborah Johnson. On my Facebook, and Coaching the Dream Book. Coaching
I love
the
it.
Dream Book.
Coaching the Dream Book. And your Instagram
And
is,
it's still DJ the Football Mom.
and Twitter's the same, right?
Yes, it is. DJ the
All
Football
right. And
Mom.
we'll make sure that you all get that. Deb, thank you so much.
Oh, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. I'm so proud of you. I'm so excited for you. You go, girl. You are just you're doing. You're the just the absolute example and model for coach for you going after your dream and making it happen. You didn't settle. You don't give up. You don't give out. You just do what you have to do, and you're blessing us. You
Thank
really
you.
are.
And I just want you to know, as you said yesterday, Gail in motion. That was the
Mhm.
word you said. I just want y'all to know. I'm reading all of her stuff and I know that. We're friends.
Mhm.
It's like we hang out with each other.
Absolutely,
I'm
we
like,
are.
I'm
She's
like,
in my
she keeping,
circle.
I'm like, she keeping secrets. I said, oh, I see my fill in when I can't be on News in Motion.
I stop. I love it. I absolutely love it.
I'll see you. I gotta get to this
Thank
inspirational
you.
message.
Thank
Thank you.
you. It's a
All right, y'all, it's inspirational message time. Today, again, is Ash Wednesday. This starts the day of Lent. Whatever it is, whether you're giving up something, whether you're drawing closer to God, if you are a follower, whatever it is, today is Lent. Today is the day. I gave you 2 books earlier, 3 books actually. This one is the 40-day sugar fast. I also told you about my book. It's actually 49 days, but you can still do that. Getting to the root of it. How you get that in there, getting to the root of it. And then the other book I want to talk about is 40 Days of Decrease by Alicia Britt Cho. And that's Chole. And this is where I'm going to give you my inspirational message, and then we're out of here. And this is taken straight from her book from day one. It says, Lent is often and understandably described with project language. The season has a starting date, an ending date, and clear qualifiable goals to accomplish in between. It goes on and says, after Easter, consequently, we evaluate Lent with project language. We did okay, or we made it 2 weeks, or we kept our commitment, or we totally failed. These are the things that we do. And then she goes on to say whether engaging, this is all from her book from day one, whether engaging this experience prior to Easter or another time during the year, from day one, you're invited to consider Lent as less of a project and more of a pathway, a sojourn. Is a temporary stay at place. Then she talked about that stay is about being present, not productivity. And then she goes on to say, for the next 40 days, so all of us who are doing Lent, for the next 40 days, let's get beyond measuring your success or the statistics, the data that is calculating how often you keep your commitment or do without a meal or sugar or your favorite shows, whatever it is you choose to give up. She goes on to say in her book, instead, invest your energy, get this, y'all, in seeking to remain present to the sacred history of Lent and of Jesus and his walk to the cross. He goes on to say, with each reading, and she's talking about her book, dust off your childhood imagination and stay in each story. So, whatever your observation is, stay in that. So, even with this one here, this is the 40-day sugar fast. It's not just talking about giving up the sugar, it's talking about the intimacy with Christ and enjoying that sweetness with him and just relishing in that time with him. So in this book, day one is like, don't focus on what you're giving up. Focus on who you are drawing to. So in this day of Lent, as we asked you all a couple of weeks ago with News in Motion, pray with us. Make us a part of your prayer list with all the other list of things that you're doing. Pray with us in our direction. There's some decisions from the advisory meeting we had on yesterday that I will be making by the 15th to 20th of March. I know this is God's purpose for me to do this, but how are we going to do this as a grassroots journalistic organization? What does that look like? But here's where I want you to come in. As we are all doing this, wherever you are, and we're not excluding those of you who are not followers, because I believe we can all fast on something or away from something. So you're not being excluded. I want you to join us on this journey. But y'all know I make no apologies for being a believer and a follower of Jesus. But many of you from many denominations or no denomination at all or no religion at all still tune in. And you say that the inspirational messages help you. So I have to continue this because I'm also being obedient to God. So with that, that's my request. We want to know your requests. So if you are vulnerable enough to put your request in the thread of what you are seeking or how we can come alongside of you to pray over these next 40 days, do so. Y'all, the power of prayer, the prayers of the righteous avails much. So put it in there. If you're like, I don't want to post it in the thread, email us your prayer requests. So Isaiah, if you can put our email up again, email it to us. That's newsinmotionwithgail@gmail.com. Again, that's newsinmotionwithgail@gmail.com. When you send those in to us, I need to be very transparent with you and say to you, your prayer request will also go to more than 300 people who are intercessors who have been joining me for, I don't know, last 2 decades. And we have seen the manifestation of God's glory just come down and propel people into their promised future. So if you are willing to share your prayer requests, whether that's here on the thread or through that email, you will have people praying with you and for you. All right. All right, y'all. We're going to eventually get back to ending by 8 Eastern, hopefully. If not, we just have to keep going and doing what we do. But I want us to do this fast together. The other thing before I sign off, many of you are still doing what you want to do, your due diligence with trying to become debt-free by Easter 2022. And I believe it can still happen. And if that's your prayer request, be vulnerable enough to put that in there. So many of you are saying that you have about $1,000 to go. Somebody sent in last week and said you're down to about 10. I think it was 10,000 or something to go. Someone else, there's been at least 3, if not 4 people that said that you met debt free and you were glad and thankful for the encouragement. Let's continue. Let's continue. And then we'll talk about after Easter where we're going from there. And that is to buy up some properties. That's what we're doing individually, but that's what we're going to do. So y'all, we just have to keep going. But the prayers of the righteous availeth much. I see you, Lori. She says, praying for funding for an inaugural event, festival of movement that will be happening in August. We are joining you in that prayer. Pastor Alex says, please pray that God will give me his strength and the courage to be who he has called me to be so that I can do what he's called me to do. we're joining you in that. Deborah says, I'm seeking clarity from God and a breakthrough. So we're praying for that. Hester is saying, hallelujah, buy real estate, great investment. And it is. So y'all listen, we're news again is defined as noteworthy information. We're not just going to give you the highlights. And we realize that sometimes we share with you what you may have heard on your local news or national news. But along with that, we want to make sure we are sowing into your life by bringing interview guests on here to interview. There was so much Deborah said. There was so much she said, I hope you grab from that. And then to give you the inspirational message. Cherie says, praying for expansion and resources to bless even more people. We can join you in that. And then Kim Edmondson, praying to get my first investment property. You know I'm praying for you for that, sister. So y'all, that's where we go. All right, y'all, stay well. All these mandates are lifting with COVID-19. Don't forget you can start ordering your tests next week. I'll try to remember to say that again. We'll be here tomorrow. I'm going to be giving you some detailed information on voting. I have a few news headlines, but I'm going to be tackling voting. We are at that place. We cannot keep delaying that conversation on a more regular basis. All right, y'all. So stay well. Remember to make some bold moves. I'm praying for you during this Lent season. Y'all, it's Ash Wednesday. Please send us your prayer requests or post them in the thread. Marion saying, praying for strength and clarity to have a hard conversation with someone. We're praying with you. We're praying with you with that as well. All right, y'all. I'm out.